Hi guys, Aaron Dorr here, policy advisor with Wyoming gun owners. As you guys know, gun grabbers and moderates in the state capitol are always trying to find ways to restrict the places that you and I can carry a firearm for self-defense. Wyoming already has constitutional carry and stand your ground law on the books, but it doesn't do a lot of good in government facilities, college campuses, places like that, if you can't carry a firearm in those locations because some state agency or state code or administrative policy has deemed that area a gun-free zone. Now, of course, as you guys know, every time WIGO talks about trying to repeal these gun-free zones, anti-gun lobbyists, Bloomberg-funded organizations, and others are always screaming at the rooftops about the effectiveness of gun-free zones, and that by having no guns allowed, we're going to somehow magically stop evil people from doing evil things. The purpose of this video is to kind of show you guys the reality of gun-free zones. I know we all know what a joke gun-free zones are, but the numbers are absolutely horrifying when you break them down. This is a report that we're going to have on our website here momentarily about gun-free zones and how deadly they have been in this country in just the last 10 years. Now, we're going to go over a case study here, actually a series of case studies. Every one of the mass shootings I'm about to talk about, every one of them occurred in a gun-free zone. Every one of them occurred in an area where you and I can't fight back. Even with constitutional carry, even with a permit, you and I can't fight back because in these areas, some politician has decided that you and I can't carry firearms. These are going to be the top 10 cases that we know of in the country in the last 10 years where hundreds of people collectively have been being murdered because good guys in these areas can't fight back. And what that does then, of course, is it puts a great big neon sign on top of these areas and it says, shoot here, to a would-be madman looking to rack up a body count. We've seen this happen time and time and time again. So, as this fight in Wyoming kicks off to repeal gun-free zones, and you hear from politicians about, it's not a big deal, or no, I disagree, we should have gun-free zones. I want you to have these numbers and these case studies in your head. You can share them with your lawmakers and say, you're going to have blood on your hands if you continue Wyoming's current policy of banning guns in public places in certain areas. Case number one, April 2018, Travis Renkine walked into a Tennessee Waffle House. Waffle House is well known for having a no guns allowed policy. Walked into a Waffle House and shot and killed 4 people and wounded 4 more in a gun-free zone. 4 dead, 4 wounded in a place where gun owners can't fight back. Case number 2, February 2018, the Parkland, Florida school shooting. Nicholas Cruz walked into the school well armed and shot and killed 17 people in a place where by Florida law, no parent, no teacher, no janitor, no anybody could have a firearm to fight back. 17 people died because of that, in part because of that. Case number 3, November 2017, Sutherland Springs, Texas. We all know that this case here it shocked the world. Devin Kelly walked into a church in this small town in Texas and he mowed down 26 people and wounded 20 more. So 46 people shot and or wounded, killed or wounded by gunfire. Finally, before he was stopped, by an armed citizen, a neighbor who heard the gunfire, ran across the street in his socks, loading bullets into the magazine of his AR-15 before he shot, engaged, and hit this madman and ended the attack. 26 people killed in this gun-free zone, which is what the churches are in Texas. Let's see here. Moving on down, October of 2017, case number 4, Stephen Paddock, Las Vegas outdoor theater shooting. Stephen Paddock murdered 58 people. He wounded 422 others in case number 4, and he shot from Mandalay Bay, a gun-free zone, into this outdoor theater, amphitheater, also a gun-free zone, so nobody had a chance to fight back there as well. Case number 5, they keep coming and coming and coming. They're all the time because gun-free zones are killing fields. Case number 5, June 2017, John Newman had just been fired from Fiamma Manufacturing. I might have pronounced that wrong. Fiamma Manufacturing in Florida showed up to the meeting where he was going to be terminated, and he ended up murdering 5 people at the site. And that manufacturing company had confirmed they were a gun-free zone. So nobody, no employee had a chance to fight back. Case number 6, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Esteban Santiago traveled into the Fort Lauderdale airport on an airplane, flew into Fort Lauderdale, got his bags from security, went into a bathroom, loaded his firearms, and launched a murder spree in the airport, in the secured area of the airport. Killed 5 people, wounded 6, and again, as in all these gun-free zone cases, nobody there could fight back because they were all disarmed. Case number 7, the Cascade Mall. This was in September 2016. A crazy person, Archaean Seaton, took a Ruger 10/22, walked into this mall, and shot and killed 5 people. Again, September 23, 2016. This mall, like almost every shopping mall in America, is a gun-free zone where you and I can't fight back. Case number 8. Omar Mateen, a self-described Islamic terrorist who called the dispatch office during his murder spree to pledge fidelity to Islam, walked into a gun-free zone, a nightclub in Orlando, Florida, June 12, 2016, and shot and murdered 49 people and wounded 53 more in his attack, which lasted for hours before police could get inside to end the attack. Hours that people who, if they had a firearm, could have tried to defend themselves, could have tried to kill this Islamic terrorist before they themselves were killed or wounded, but they couldn't fight back because of these policies. Case number 9, Jason Dalton, an Uber driver who was on the job, on the clock, for Uber, February of 2016, drove around to various areas in the region that he was driving and shot and killed 5 different people in places, again, where if you had been in the car with him, you couldn't have carried a gun because Uber's corporate policy precludes anybody carrying firearms in one of their cars when it's on the clock, you might say. Case number 10, a husband and wife terrorist team. I can't even pronounce the names very well. Syed Farouk and Tashfeen Malik, a husband and wife terror team from San Diego, California. This was in December of 2015. They launched an attack at a corporate Christmas party, knowing that facility was off limits to gun owners. They knew that in advance. They killed 14 people at the scene and seriously wounded 22 others in an area that they knew in advance were off limits to gun owners. Case number, Case number 11. This is in Roseburg, Oregon, a community college there that was a totally off limits to gun owners. A student who was disgruntled with his professors at the school, apparently, went onto the campus, shot and killed 9 people, wounded 8 more. Shot 9, killed 9, wounded 8 more, and nobody was there who could fight back. One of the ones who was wounded there was a man named Chris Mintz. Chris Mintz was a young man, is still a young man. He was a military veteran, multiple decorations for valor in the military. He's come back home to Oregon, back to his home state. He has a young daughter. He's trying to get his career started. He's going to community college to get training to launch his career, and this mass shooting attacks. Now, he knows how to deal with madmen with guns. He's a military veteran, combat decorated. He knew what to do, and he had no gun with which to fight back. So as this madman came down the hallway at him, Chris launched himself at the guy physically, trying to stop him, and instead he got shot 5 times. He did survive, but if he had had so much as a BB gun in his hands, he could have virtually, I'm not being serious, but any firearm in his disposal, he could have and would have shot and killed that guy and could have saved every one of those lives. Chris Mintz has the National Defense Service Medal, the Global War on Terror Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, and more, but couldn't fight back because he was disarmed by ridiculous policies in the state of Oregon. The same policies that we have in Wyoming at UW, for example. Case number 12, Dylan Roof attacked a church in Charleston, South Carolina, a very high-profile situation. Attacked the church, killed 9 people, wounded 1 more, and churches in South Carolina are off limits to anybody who has a permit. So the madmen can come on there and commit mass murder, but you and I have no chance to fight back. Case number 13, Washington State. This was Marysville High School, October 2014. A student, Jalen Freiberg, lost his mind, went into the cafeteria, opened fire, killed 4 and wounded 1 more in a gun-free zone shooting, again, where no teacher, no janitor, no cafeteria worker, no parent, no grandparent, nobody could be armed to fight back and defend these children. Insane. Case number 14, the Washington Navy Yard shooting. The entire complex is off limits to gun owners. But Aaron Alexis walked inside with a shotgun on September 16, 2013, and murdered 12 people before finally being shot down by a SWAT team. Murdered 14 people before he was stopped by a SWAT team. Why do we not want them to have the means to fight back? This is preposterous. Case number 15 will never leave the minds of gun owners in this country forever. Sandy Hook Elementary School, December 14, 2012, Newtown, Connecticut. 27 innocent children and teachers mowed down by Adam Lanza with 2 more wounded. And again, one of the most high-profile gun-free zone shootings of that time. No one could fight back. 27 people paid the price with their life in part because of these policies that preclude self-defense. Case number 16. If you're getting tired of hearing this, imagine what it's like to go through this. Imagine the horror of a gun-free zone situation where you know how to fight back. You have a firearm normally on your hip or in your purse or somewhere on your person, but you can't have it in one of these areas because some politician somewhere said, you know what, you can't carry here. So we filed 4 more cases here. Case number 16, Accent Signage Systems, Minneapolis, Minnesota. This was September of 2012. Another bitter employee who'd lost his job came in there, killed 6 people, wounded 2 more because they have no policy that allows for self-defense. So all these people were helpless when this madman launched his attack. Another church shooting, again, case number 17, a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin was the scene for case number 17. Let's see here. The guy's name was Wade Page, was fueled by racial hatred for this church, walked in there, killed 6 people, and wounded 4 more in a case where everybody knew that church was off limits to gun owners. So again, 10 people shot, 6 of them murdered because they couldn't fight back. Absolutely preposterous. Case number 18 led to sweeping gun control in nearby Colorado. July 20, 2012, the Aurora, Colorado movie theater. We all know the story. James Holmes walked inside this theater, armed to the teeth, killed 12, 62 more were wounded in this case, and this movie theater was off limits. What's interesting is that James Holmes later would state that he chose that target in part because he knew that nobody could fight him back. He knew that other areas, other public places he drove by previous on his way to the theater had, quote, substantial security. So he went to a place that had no security. He went to a place where nobody could fight back, and he shot and killed over 70 combined people. Insane. Case number 19, Fort Hood, Texas. This is on November of 2009. Case number 19, U.S. Army Major Nadal Hassan, another Islamic terrorist situation, opened fire in the soldier readiness area. This is again on November 2009, killed 19 people, killed 19 people, wounded 33 more before finally being shot down by other response team soldiers who arrived on the scene. So follow me with this. This is one of the biggest military bases in the country, perhaps, certainly one of the biggest in the South. Thousands of troops. None of them can carry. This is absolutely insane. 14 people murdered. I had a misspeak there. 14 people murdered, 33 wounded before he could finally be taken down by responding officers, some kind of a response unit who did have guns. We're not even going to let our own soldiers, carry firearms on base. This is insane. And 14 people died in that shooting. And lastly, case number 20. This is the deadliest attack in New York State following 9/11. April 3, 2009, Jiverly Vong opened fire in the American Civics Association Immigration Center. Again, April 3, 2009. It is a educational facility in New York State. It's designed to help immigrants acclimate, if you will, to United States culture. He walked in there, opened fire, killed 13 people, wounded 4 more before finally taking his own life. And it took police 43 minutes to even set a foot inside this building. 43 minutes. In all, in these 20 case studies, 300 American citizens lost their lives. 662 were severely wounded by gunfire. Many more were wounded by other injuries as a result of people being stampeded and things like that. So we're talking about almost 1,000 people in just 10 years who have been shot, killed, and or wounded in these gun-free zone areas. And make no mistake, this is a pretty detailed report. We did not have time to include a whole bunch of other cases where only, notice my heavy sarcasm, only 2 people were murdered. Only 3 people were murdered. This is just, if you will, the higher profile situations. 20 case studies, 10 years, 300 dead, 662 people who received life-altering gunshot wounds, every one of them in a gun-free zone. So the only question left to ask now to politicians when they try to puff up this crap is, when will they apologize for their role in getting people injured and killed here in America? Because these gun-free zones are an open target to madmen with a gun. We know it. They're saying it after they're taken into custody, after carrying out these mass attacks. We know it, and they know it. So as Wyoming now moves to try to undo and repeal gun-free zones with bills being sponsored by Senator Bouchard and others, don't let up. Don't think that it is not just a peripheral issue. It's perhaps not as high profile as our Stand Your Ground law fight was in 2018, but these are the areas where madmen go to carry out attacks. We all know it. And again, just because we have constitutional carry and a Stand Your Ground law, that doesn't matter if the attack occurs in a gun-free zone location. So help us in this fight. Make your voice heard. Talk to your lawmakers. Demand they support legislation to repeal deadly gun-free zones. 1,000 dead and wounded people is 1,000 too many. We all know how to stop this. It is a gun in the hands of a good citizen, but we can't carry in a stupid gun-free zone. Help us end them today, and make sure and join up with Wyoming gun owners. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and share this video.